So I don't think you need another methodology or modality. I think that you need a way to amplify both your results and reach and return. And I think that's what we all desire in the wellness space. We want to be more effective so that we can make a bigger difference, so that we can help more people and create an impact that's going to help move the world. And I think that's what we deeply want to do. And I think sometimes we mix that desire up with the thought of, well, if I just had another modality, then I would be able to achieve that. But what I actually think you need is a way to amplify everything that you're already doing and be able to attach something, add something to all of the beautiful, amazing things, work, modalities, methodologies that you already use. Let's dive in and let me explain a little bit further because I like to think at the end of the day, and if you're like me, then you do want to get better results or be as effective as possible so that you can help people at the most profound, deep, whatever, amazing level, that you can create faster, better, I don't know what the word is, but shifts for your clients and really give them the results that they're ultimately looking for, so that they can move into a wellness, thriving, optimal state of being. And at the same time, I think we understand that to not only do that with our own, individual clients, that it's going to be beneficial if we can get more reach, where we can actually help more people, uh, and really, reach more people that need help, so that they know we're there and we have these amazing results, and that maybe we can help them to have those results as well. And then I think what we also want is we want reward. And we don't necessarily need, huge accolades or anything. We don't need to win an Oscar for best wellness professional. But I think the reality of life is that we do need to make money and be rewarded well for what we do. So it's helpful if that happens, because that allows us to continue to get results with clients. It can allows us to reach more people, and the whole thing just sort of beautifully rotates. At the end of the day, I think what you really need is the ability to amplify, amplify, and that is the ability to, amplify all of those aspects. Amplify your results so you're getting better results. Amplify your reach so you're, really connecting with more people. And amplify your rewards so that you're well looked after. So not only are you helping other people thrive, that you're actually thriving yourself. And I think that's important. And sometimes, that gets lost in the desire to help more people and to get those better results. And at the end of the day, it'd be kind of cool if we got those results with ease, right? If we got those results with greater ease, where we're not having to, push so hard and exhaust ourselves to necessarily get the results that we're ultimately looking for. And I think that would be super helpful. And on the other side, I think if we could get better reach or more reach with grace, again, where we're not trying to, sell ourselves and push and force ourselves onto other people, that it just happens with this beautiful grace. So we're getting results with ease, we're getting reach with grace, and we're getting reward with flow. So that all of these things come together in ease, grace, and flow. So I think that one of the best ways to do this, to amplify the results, amplify the reach, amplify the reward, and in a really sort of symbiotic way, amplify the ease of how we get those results, amplify the grace in how we get that reach, and amplify the flow of how we get rewarded. That could be helpful, right? Yeah, that could be helpful. Let me know. Is that helpful? Um, and I think from the results point of view, often the way we look at these things is if I just had another modality, if I just studied in a whole new sort of modality, that would be good. So I think what we need to do is go from this sort of modality sort of mindset to the addition of a of something that's going to amplify what we already do. Because the problem with modality is you go and study the latest modality, and then that's sort of all you practice because that's the next thing that's sort of trumped or what you're already doing. But what you've already studied is super powerful and super amazing. And so rather than necessarily think about it like a modality, if we think about it like an amplification, an addition that really amplifies what we do, then I think that's going to help us with the ease and get better results with the ease. And in my world, what we do to make that happen is that we implement this idea of remedy, and in particular, the frequency remedy. So by adding in the ability to give our clients a frequency remedy, to be able to go really, really deep to add to or amplify the assessments that you're doing with your clients, to come to the absolute core and heart of what their issue problem is, to find that sort of fundamental frequency at the heart, then to do your beautiful methodology, and at the end of that, be able to provide a remedy that takes the essence, that takes the frequency, the resonance of what you're doing, and we're able to place that into a frequency remedy that your clients can take away with you, and they can continue to engage with, continue to get the benefits of the work that you did in a session with them. And so we can harness what you're already doing by creating a remedy around the essence, energy, and frequency of what you're doing, provide that remedy to your client so that they get better results with more ease than what they did before. It's actually one of the main reasons I dove into the idea of frequency therapy and frequency remedies and recipes and all of those good things, because I wanted to give my clients something that would amplify what I was already doing, but also something they could take away and carry the essence, the fabric, the architecture of what I had been doing in a session with them throughout the week in between the time they saw me. That definitely led to better results. There was less up and down. There was less of the sort of, roller coaster ride from sickness to wellness. And that allowed those results to come quicker and easier and be way, way more effective. And so the journey here is to be able to, create these recipes based on the energy of what you're already doing, wrapped around the energy of what you're already doing. Create a remedy, and then get your clients to be able to replicate or repeat or replicate that energy in their own environment in between the sessions that you're having with them. And that absolutely leads to better, faster results with more ease, without a doubt. And I think, when we talk about reach, often what we're talking about is this sort of dance with marketing. And everyone will tell you that if you get your marketing more effective, then you're going to get better reach. And I'm not necessarily saying that's not true, right? Effective marketing is really helpful for sure. But I think what's even more important and what gives us grace is to turn our marketing or focus from marketing into messaging. And the messaging really runs along a line of, one degree of it is storytelling. This is one of the things that we look at is how we sort of sharing our messaging through a story. I think marketing to some degree has got a bit of a bad rap along the lines of selling, also a bit of a bad rap. And I think if we can get out there and really connect in with messaging through potentially things like storytelling, then things work with much more grace. Now, in our world, what we tend to use for that is the ability to tap into research. Research. And what I mean by that is that we can tap into two aspects of research. We can tap into the sort of more ancient uh, sort of research that was done, really anecdotal research that we're aware of. We don't, necessarily see them in labs with lab coats on researching stuff, but rather a tried and tested way. So many sort of modalities, etc., are from ancient backgrounds where the research was time and consistency and number of people that things were applied to. But if we can take that ancient research into a messaging, but can also meet the sort of modern new energies on the planet, then the messaging becomes really, really powerful. So in our world, when we're looking at this with frequency, there is so much research going on the planet right now from some of the biggest universities in the world. So what we can do, both from an ancient point of view, talking about, how in ancient Greece, Pythagoras found the mathematics for music, which we can use in sort of the frequency framework, but also go back further in time to ancient Egypt, to Aboriginal, and look at how they use sound to amplify either ceremonies, to amplify initiations, to amplify healing, to amplify cohesion, to amplify connection and community. And there are some beautiful messaging around exactly that. And then we can come into the modern version of this idea of research, where we can message off the back of research, where we see things like, MIT researching 40 hertz and the beautiful effect 40 hertz has, positive effect 40 hertz has on Alzheimer's disease. Also, how much of effect it has on inflammation. And, there's so much of it. We can, what else? We can explore things like 440 hertz and how 440 hertz or 14 kilohertz has a positive effect on transforming stem cells and reducing fat cells. Uh, there's just so much of this beautiful research that's going on that we can really tap into. Research from 5 to 8 hertz, which is one of the solfeggio frequencies, and how that reduces cortisol levels from Jitendo University in Tokyo to, Tehran University, University of Tehran, who also looked at 5 to 8 hertz and the reduction of ethanol cell damage due to alcohol consumption. It's no excuse, by the way. Or Nagoya University Graduate School of Medicine, who looked at motion sickness and 100 hertz and how it relieves motion sickness. And the research and the stories go on and on and on. And this allows us to have this really beautiful positive messaging without having to use, this sort of marketing pushy sort of, it just allows us to share ourselves with grace. And I think that's really important. It certainly makes things a lot better, a lot easier, a lot makes us feel better. And from a reward point of view, we want to, we want to create flow so that we are rewarded really well and that we don't have resistance to that reward and that others don't have resistance to that reward. And so we want to sort of take that from that place of, sort of resistance, and whether that's our resistance or others' resistance, and into a space of thriving. And at the end of the day, if you're thriving, it's so much easier to help other people thrive. So, if we can remove that sort of resistance and really powerfully step into thriving, then that's going to allow way more flow. And the way we do this is that we step into an amplified version of resonance. Because at the end of the day, it's resonance that gets results, or resonance that creates reality. We know that everything in the universe is made of frequency and vibration and energy. And therefore, the combination of those things creates a resonant frequency field. Now, if we can amplify that resonant frequency field, right, we're going to get more flow and more reward. So what we do is we come into a space of realignment, realign into that resonant frequency flow, and we reactivate. Activate the amplification of that resonance. And through the use of frequency, we can align the fundamental frequency and then amplifying it using harmonics and octaves and chords to really amplify that resonant frequency field that in turn helps us to have more ease, have more grace, have more flow, where we can get and experience more effective or better results, where we can see the effect of a broader reach, where we're engaging and connecting with more amazing people on the planet that really need the incredible work you do. And that's going to lead to an amplification of reward with flow. So we get ease, grace, flow. We amplify everything that we do, and ultimately that leads to us helping more people, creating more impact, getting better results, and in turn really helping to shift and change what's happening on the planet. All the while you shift and change and grow and evolve yourself and end up thriving more, but with ease, grace, and absolute flow. And this is what I call the amplify effect. And I think when you're looking out into the world, rather than thinking about necessarily another modality, you think about, okay, how can I amplify what's already there? What can I add to what I already do that's going to have an amplifying effect? What can I do when I go out into the world to have an amplifying effect? What do I do to help my family to thrive? What amplifying effect can I have? And yeah, this then changes everything. So here's to amplification. And if you want to learn a bit more about amplifying and how to do that, then join me at our next live event. I'm going to put a link below where you can come along and find out more about how do I amplify and get a whole lot of tools and techniques and even experience fundamental frequencies personally that are going to help you to amplify at a really beautiful, deep level. Because, we're all in this together, and it's time to connect and collaborate and co-create the next most amazing, beautiful version of this experience. So I'd love you to join me so that we can do exactly that. All right, have a beautiful, amazing, amplified day, and I'll see you real soon. Ciao.